Sam Tenpenny with Tri-State Livestock News, the Fence Post, and Farmer and Rancher Exchange, back with more fair cattle markets daily headlines. According to the United States Department of Agriculture, at the National Farmers Union Annual Convention in Scottsdale yesterday, USDA Secretary 𝗨𝗵𝗲 announced the finalization of a rule to align with the voluntary Product of USA label claim with that of consumer understanding of what the claim actually means. USDA's final Product of USA rule allows the voluntary Product of USA or Made in the USA label claim to be used on meat, poultry, and egg products only when they are derived from animals born, raised, slaughtered, and processed in the United States. The rule will prohibit misleading U.S. origin labeling in the market and help to ensure that the information that consumers receive about where their food comes from is truthful after the World Trade Organization ruled a previous mandatory rule had violated U.S. trade obligations in a case brought against it by Canada and Mexico. Under the final rule, the Product of USA or Made in the USA label claim will continue to be voluntary. It will also remain eligible for generic label approval, meaning that it would not need to be pre-approved by USDA's Food Safety and Inspection Service before it can be used on a regulated product, but it would require the establishment maintain documentation on file to support their claim. The final rule also allows the use of other voluntary U.S. origin claims on meat, poultry, and egg products sold in the marketplace. These claims will need to include a description on the package of the preparation and processing steps that occur in the United States upon which the claim is made. Establishments voluntarily using a claim subject to the final rule will need to comply with the new regulatory requirements by January 1st of 2026, but are encouraged to do so as soon as practical after the publication of this final rule that is designed to ensure that when consumers see a Product of USA label, they can trust the authenticity of that label and know that every step involved from birth to processing was done here in America. Asked why the rule won't go into effect for almost 2 more years, Vilsack said the lengthy implementation period is necessary so food companies that have already labeled products won't suffer economic harm in the transition. The lengthy implementation period does raise the possibility that groups opposed to the rule may try to stop it before it is implemented, but USDA's final Product of USA rule is supported by petitions, thousands of comments from stakeholders, and data from a nationwide consumer survey. Leadership from NCBA, U.S. Cattlemen's Association, and the North American Meat Institute have each expressed their appreciation to USDA, as well as their excitement to see the loophole being addressed and their continued support of their members as they focus on ensuring that these labeling regulations result in the opportunity for producer premiums while remaining trade compliant. RCAF CEO Bill Bullard commented that they too welcome the end of this era of consumer deception as the final rule effectively ends the voluntary mislabeling of beef, but that it still doesn't require anyone to label anything. Bullard said while this is an important step in the right direction, Congress needs to pass MCOOL as quickly as possible to require that all beef sold in grocery stores be labeled as to where the animal from which the beef was derived was born, raised, and slaughtered. Only then will consumers be informed as to which beef was produced by American cattle farmers and ranchers and which beef was produced under some foreign country's food safety regime. According to Bullard, the inclusion of the American Beef Labeling Act or the Country of Origin Labeling Enforcement Act, both of which require country of origin labels on both domestic and foreign beef sold in grocery stores, is the most important step Congress can take in the 2024 Farm Bill to restore competition for America's farmers and ranchers. USDA also announced yesterday that they are awarding $9.5 million to 42 different projects through the Local Meat Capacity Grant Program. This program is targeted to support meat and poultry processors of smaller scale projects with a goal to increase processing availability and variety for local and regional livestock producers to obtain fairer prices for the animals they raise, as well as give consumers more options in the marketplace. This initial set of awards through local MCap is for simplified equipment only projects, as USDA confirmed that they will announce additional awards for both equipment and processing expansion local MCap grants at a later date. This first set of awards for simplified equipment projects spans 27 states and Puerto Rico and funds projects anywhere from $10,000 to $250,000 to purchase processing equipment such as meat grinders, stuffers, smokers, and other processing and packaging equipment that will provide local producers with the ability to create new value-added products for local consumers, maximize the value of their animals, utilize byproducts, and increase animal harvest. These funds will allow local processors to increase the number of livestock processed annually, implement new processing technologies, train existing staff, hire new employees, and benefit local family producers. Last week, the United States Department of Agriculture announced the finalization of inclusive competition and market integrity under the Packers and Stockyards Act. The final rule, that will be effective 60 days following publication in the Federal Register, establishes clearer, more effective standards under the Packers and Stockyards Act for prohibited practices relating to discrimination, retaliation, and deception in contracting. This will help producers and growers that have suffered from increasingly consolidated markets over the last 30 years by enhancing market integrity and ensuring fair access to economic opportunities. USDA is finalizing a series of rules under the Packers and Stockyards Act as part of President Biden's historic executive order on promoting competition in America's economy. These rules complement a series of other all-encompassing actions by USDA to increase competition in agricultural markets, create a fair playing field for all small and mid-sized farmers, lower grocery costs for consumers, and strengthen local and regional food systems. Actions include enhancing independent meat and poultry and other diversified food processing capacity, expanding domestic innovative fertilizer production, creating a fair market for seeds and other agricultural inputs, investing in state attorney general enforcement capacity, and supporting more robust and resilient supply chains. According to the USDA, these investments will create better economic opportunities, which will result in more affordable prices and choices for consumers at the grocery store, in addition to more opportunities and revenue for producers. That's all for today. Tune in next week for more Fair Cattle Markets Daily Headlines brought to you by Tri-State Livestock News, the Fence Post, and Farmer and Rancher Exchange.